Hi, thank you so much for coming in today. I really appreciate you taking the time to meet with me. I just want to start by saying that Willa is such a joy to have in the classroom. She comes in with great attitude, she's very engaged, and she really enjoys being here overall, which is such a strong foundation for learning in the classroom. So, my goal for today is to walk you through how Willa is doing in reading and writing, to share some of her strengths, to talk about a few areas where she could still use some growing, and then just to go over some strategies we're using in the classroom and ways you can support her at home. So to start off with, I want to start with the positives because Willa really does have a lot of strengths. One of her biggest strengths is her attitude towards reading. Based on some prior assessments I gave her, she actually scored in the 82nd percentile for reading attitude, which means she really enjoys reading, especially for fun. That's huge because when students enjoy reading, they're much more likely to keep improving. She also has a really strong understanding of how a book works, such as things like how to hold a book, where to start reading, how print matches spoken words. Those foundational skills are really solid for her. Another area where she did very well in understanding is understanding stories. When we looked at A Wordless Book, she was really able to retell the story very clearly. She identified the characters, the setting, the problem, and the solution, which really shows her strong comprehension skills when she's engaged with the story. She also has a great memory and participates well in discussions. She's very engaged and enjoys talking, which actually helps her learning a lot in the classroom. Now, like any kindergarten student, there are a few areas she's still developing in, and that's completely expected at this stage, so I would not worry one bit. She is doing phenomenal. So one of her areas that we are currently focusing on is writing, of course. Willa has shared that she mostly writes because she's told to rather than because she wants to, which is normal for a kindergartner. They don't tend to want to write for fun. So our goal is to help her become more motivated and confident with her writing so that she can excel and improve. Another important area is her phonological awareness skills, which is her ability to hear and work with sounds and words. For example, she sometimes does have difficulty removing sounds from words and breaking words apart. This is an important skill because it does directly impact her ability to read new words. In phonics and word recognition, Willa knows most of her letters and sounds, which is great. However, she's still learning things like digraphs, sounds like sh or ch, and more complex word patterns. She also recognized 9 out of 35 high-frequency words. So we're continuing to build upon that automatic recognition. For her fluency, which is how smoothly and quickly she reads, she is currently reading at about 20 words per minute. By this point in the year, we're aiming closer to that 30 word per minute. So we're looking on building her speed and confidence so that we can get those extra 10 words by the end of the year. In her comprehension, she's doing well overall, but she sometimes has trouble answering questions that do require pulling exact details from the text. She also tends to focus more on the middle of the story when retelling and leaves out the ending. So, based on all of this, I've been using a few specific strategies to support her growth. For her phonics and word recognition, I'm using explicit and systematic instruction, meaning we're directly teaching sound patterns step by step. We're also using sight word flashcards daily to help her recognize common words automatically. To help strengthen her understanding of sounds, we practice saying and writing letters at the same time, as this can help connect what she hears with what she sees. For her fluency, we do various activities like choral reading, where students read together as a group, and in turn, this will help with her fluent reading sounds and builds confidence. To support her comprehension and retelling skills, we're using strategies like sequencing stories, identifying the beginning, middle, and end of stories, and sometimes even acting out the stories through what we call reader's theater. This helps her to better understand and really remember what she reads. It really does help with the comprehension skills of the fact. We're also gradually trying to increase the difficulty of the text that she reads so she can continue to grow without becoming overwhelmed. We want her to keep that confidence, keep growing. As for supports at home and what resources you could use to help Willa, there are really simple and effective ways to support her at home. One of the best things that I would recommend to do is read with her regularly. As she has proven that she enjoys reading, maybe try choosing some fun or silly books. Those tend to be her favorite in classroom, and just talk about the story together, really. Just get her telling you about it, get her to express that beginning, that middle, and that end. Really keep her on focus. You could also practice sight words using flashcards that we do provide every month. We'll send home a set of sight words that we are working on in that unit. This way you can keep it short and consistent, and that does help make a big difference. For her writing, I would recommend strongly encouraging her to write about things that she enjoys, like, for example, silly stories or even drawings, which could really help build her interest and get her writing more. Even labeling the pictures or writing a sentence or two is great practice for her writing development. You might also could try having her retell stories after reading. You could ask her questions like what happened at the beginning, what happened at the end, who's the main character, what did you see, what did they do, just to help really build upon those skills. Overall, Willa's doing great, and she's right where we expect her to be in many areas for her age group and for her grade level. She has, what I've come to notice, a really strong foundation, especially with her positive attitude and engagement. And with the continued support through her teachers and through you, the parent, she's going to keep making great progress. All right, do you have any questions or anything you've noticed at home that you'd like to share?